The planets are always speaking to us, and this week their messages are loud and clear. This week will be all about changing things in our relationships, and home and family will also get a boost of energy to reset dynamics in a really positive way. And speaking of reset, how was the solar eclipse for everyone? In particular, for those of you with placements around 9 degrees of Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, let me know in the comments. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to say welcome. I'm your intuitive astrologer, Brandy Kahn. I approach astrology from a psychological perspective due to my educational background. And as an evidential and trance medium, I don't just analyze planetary movements. I tune into their energy and I offer guidance from a deeply intuitive space. Please make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel and join me on this astro journey each week. Let's dive into the astrological transits for this week and uncover how you can align with their wisdom. On Tuesday, April 1st, Venus will conjunct the North Node at 27 degrees of Pisces. When I connected to the energy behind this aspect, I was shown that the energy of the North Node will have a way of bringing the principles of Venus to the forefront. This energy will permeate the consciousness of humanity in different ways. We will be focused on how we relate to others in our relationships and friendships, and also focused on what we value. Some of us might be thinking about how we can show more compassion and empathy in our relationships. And then there may be others who are rethinking about how they acted in situations that required more empathy and understanding, but unfortunately, they may not have been able to deliver that at the time. And then, right now they feel the need to make a plan to ensure that they will behave differently next time. Also, if you have children who enjoyed a hobby in the past, but now they are not actively pursuing that particular hobby, don't be surprised if they say, Mom or Dad, I want to go back to piano, or I want to go back to ballet or basketball. That's also possible during this time. The energy of love, kindness, and joy, that's the signature for this aspect. And it feels really strong when I connect to it. And on Tuesday, this energy may call you to use it. And you may feel drawn to call a friend or a family member and tell them how much they mean to you. Or maybe you might feel the need to do a kind deed for one of your neighbors. And I really want you to go with it. Don't ignore the urge to show love. On Friday, April 4th, Mercury retrograde will conjunct the North Node at 27 degrees of Pisces. Again, the energy of the North Node will bring the principles of Mercury, and Mercury is the planet of our thinking processes and communication. It will bring these principles to the forefront. And also remember that Mercury retrograde is all about taking the time to reflect and to review. So, with this transit, there could possibly be a lot of rumination and going back over things that you thought were finished or dealt with. You might also feel a deep need to finalize things that have been left unfinished. And there might also be this desire to really focus on creativity or spiritual expression or spiritual learning, or really anything that utilizes the right side of your brain. If you watched last week, you will remember that I connected to the energy of Mercury and Pisces. And just in case you didn't know, I am an evidential and trans medium, and I'm able to connect to the energy of the planets and receive guidance. And this is last week's message from Mercury in Pisces. I perform in a different way when in the sign of Pisces. I utilize the right side of the brain more than the left. Your society has deemed the creative and abstract as less desirable than logic and reason. So they have labeled the energy of Pisces as detrimental to my faculties. But in truth, it's just another facet of who I am. So shift your perspective to this powerful interpretation and really try to value Mercury and Pisces for what it brings us as far as creativity, spirituality, and unconditional love. So on Friday, give yourself the safe space to think mystically or creatively and to daydream about what you most want to do in your life. And don't demand that the energy of Mercury and Pisces be anything different than what it is. On Friday, April 4th, Saturn at 24 degrees of Pisces will sextile Uranus at 24 degrees of Taurus. Saturn is the planet of commitment and structure, and Uranus is the planet of change and new ways of thinking. And when I tap into the energy of this aspect, it feels like a push forward that will help us to really develop the framework, the system, or the structure to implement radical new ideas. If there are systems or situations that require a new course of action from you, this aspect will help with that. For example, if you are in a work situation or a relationship that really feels too limiting or restricting for you, this might be the time when you come up with a concrete plan to give yourself a sense of freedom. And that's because we also have another transit coming up on Friday, April 4th, the same day that will help with this. And this transit will be all about Mars at 24 degrees of Cancer, trining Saturn at 24 degrees of Pisces. Mars represents energy and getting things done when it comes to the themes of Saturn, which are our systems and structures. So, this aspect can give us the energy and the drive to change things at home or to make a move for our family. We can really go the distance with a project that requires intense focus and commitment during this time. And parents, this is an excellent time to implement a sense of structure at home and to instill a discipline and routine, like within your day to day life with your children. And this will give them a solid foundation for secure attachment. It's also a great time to begin spiritual practices or activities at home, like implementing a family prayer time or family meditation time. You can also use this time to set a routine or schedule for your child's creative pursuits, such as piano practice or any other creative activities. And on the same day, Friday, April 4th, Mars at 24 degrees of Cancer will sextile Uranus at 24 degrees of Taurus. Mars is the planet of action and energy, and Uranus represents change and freedom. This transit will bring a burst of energy and excitement and a drive to secure our freedom. We might feel the need to take a new path, and we might have the energy to really get something moving and off the ground. And we could also feel drawn to take a new adventure or to start a new adventure or to break free from a limiting situation and to really assert our individuality. On Sunday, April 6th, the sun at 16 degrees of Aries will sextile Jupiter at 16 degrees of Gemini. Now, the sun represents our sense of self and identity, and Jupiter is all about growth and expansion. So, with this transit or with this aspect, there's a lot of energy and drive to begin new projects and initiatives because the sun is in the fire sign of Aries. And you might feel really confident with the idea of blazing a new trail and starting something from scratch. And if your kids have soccer or baseball games on this day, they may be able to use this energy for a really good performance. So keep that in mind. And on the same day, Sunday, April 6th, Venus retrograde at 25 degrees of Pisces will trine Mars at 25 degrees of Cancer. So you might be really focused on your relationships at home, and maybe you realize that you've neglected these connections and you have a desire to make some changes. And this could also be possible with people outside of your family, too. And you may want to take the steps to patch up any old misunderstandings and disagreements. So use this energy for bringing in a sense of harmony and diplomacy to your relationships. So, those are the transits for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. And I want you all to remember to set the intention to use this energy for stellar alignment. You really want to align with the highest potential, the highest version of you. So, I'm hoping you all have a wonderful week, and I'll see you back here again next week.